What's up, everybody? My name is Dell. This is Dell on Movies. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. Welcome to another episode of Movie Swap. Tonight's guest is like myself. He is an aficionado of Asian cinema, and we're going to talk some Asian cinema tonight for sure. And we're going to have a really good time with that. And he just finished up August, I believe. He's on 31 days for 31. He took a break in September. We'll find out if he's got some spooky stuff for October or what he's got for October planned. And of course, I'm talking about Ryon of Movies with Ryan. What's going on, man?
How is it going? I know I like Asian cinema, but I love how I've become the aficionado of Asian cinema. But yes, you're correct. I did do the 31 days of videos in August, and that was a slog. I thought my 365 of still books was bad, but man, making a video a day, I don't know how some people do it.
I don't either. I mean, I admire people who can, like Tony, and I know Derek at Pure Hangout does it, and a lot of, of course, the bigger streamers that Ken does it. I don't know how you have time.
No, I don't know either. I really don't.
It's amazing. Are you doing anything big for October? I know on Instagram you also doing a 30-day challenge for September. Are you doing anything for October?
Doing that 30-day challenge, which we only got 3 days left of that. I haven't decided what I'm going to do in October. I have spoiler. I mean, people watching my videos have seen it. I've been actually picking up a lot more horror lately, just because I don't know, stuff's kind of running dry. So I'm going to maybe just try to watch more horror in October. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
That's interesting because I've heard you say on several occasions, horror is not your thing.
No, it's not. So I did just pick up. Was it in this week's video or is it in next week's video that hasn't came out yet? I think it's. I'll spoil it. I bought that new Second Sight. It Follows. Everybody, raves about that movie. They say it's really good. So I kind of got FOMO. It's Second Sight. I got a lot of their box sets, so I went ahead and bought it. So I'm going to check that out definitely in October. And there's a couple of J horror stuff I picked up lately. I need to check out.
All right. Well, I'm one of those people who raves about It Follows. So let me know how you like it when you finally do see it. And tonight, in a little bit, we're going to get into a little bit of horror-ish, horror-adjacent kind of movies. Before we do that, we talked about Asian cinema. If I'm also correct, you and I are also members of Wu Nation.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. All right. So here's a Wu-Tang question for you. Who are your favorite 3 members?
Number 1 is ODB. I've always said that. I just like his just grungy, dirty style. Ghostface Killer and Inspector Deck.
Okay. Now there's really no wrong answer.
No, there's not. I think I like Inspector a little bit more than Ghostface Killer. Or no, I like Ghostface Killer more than Inspector. Yeah, that's which one. I always get them two confused because they're both similar. Raekwon's good too.
I don't know if I would call them similar, but they're 2 of the more known ones for sure. For me, Method Man's always been like my favorite, but I don't know that he's the best. But he's always been my favorite. And then Inspector Deck, and probably Ghostface third.
I like Method Man, but to me, he always seemed like the oddball in Wu-Tang. I don't know why. And then when he came out with his own stuff, especially the Rockefeller album with the Red Man, where he really let his speech impediment shine, and he sounded just really good, and he flowed really good. I think he's done better on his own, personally. That's my own opinion.
Yeah, he always feels, even when he was, when they were all younger, first he just always felt a little more polished than the others.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. Yeah. And now, even as he's gotten older and he's moved into acting as much as he is in music, he just always has that little bit more well-rounded shine to him. Then the others are kind of they're members of Wu-Tang, and that's what they are, and through. Are pretty much it. Except for maybe RZA is the only other person who you could say is he's branched out and doing a lot of other things.
Yeah. He's done he's got his hands in a lot of different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been pretty successful at those things. A
Yep.
lot of people don't realize that he did the score for Kill Bill for one. That was a pretty good
Yes.
score.
Then, of course, The Man with the Iron Fist 1 and 2. He did some of the Ghost Dog stuff, which is
Mhm.
getting a 4K Steelbook release. I'm happy
Yep.
about.
Did he do the whole score, or did somebody else help him with that?
I think somebody else helped. I don't think he's the main credit on it. I think because he had the cameo in the movie, and then
Right.
I really wouldn't call it a cameo because he did a little bit more. But I think he was an assistant with the sound production on it or the music production.
Okay, because I remember his name in the credits. I just couldn't remember if it was as the person who did all of the music or not. Did you like the Man with the Iron Fist movies?
I've only seen parts of the first one. I fell asleep during it. I need to actually go back and watch both of them. I've heard they're like mid, but I mean, I really like RZA. I really like the lore that he puts into the stuff and all that.
I'd say the first one was better than the second, and the first one really was as good as it was thanks to Russell Crowe. And it probably would have been even better had RZA not been in the movie. If he had just been directing the movie and someone else played that character, it probably would have been better. And the second one was not as good, but still kind of a fun time.
Yeah, it's martial arts. It's fun stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking. Let's
And I
see,
mean,
music design.
yeah,
No,
he came up
original
with a
music
good
by
story.
RZA.
Oh, for Ghost Dog.
Yes, I for some reason I thought he was just an assistant on, it, but yeah, apparently he has the full thing on it. All right, I learned something new
Okay,
today.
okay. Now the director of that movie is Jim Jarmusch. Is that right?
That's correct. One of his just weird off movies that you wouldn't expect Jim to make.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a small confession. Is I generally don't like his movies. uh,
I'm
I don't. Where do you stand on
50-50.
that? 50
I'm
50.
50-50. Like I've bought almost a lot of his stuff, but then I watched Coffee and Cigarettes by him, and I was bored to tears with it. That's where it's basically just people at this coffee shop having coffees, having these just weird conversations. And there was a couple of good ones in there, but overall, I was bored to death with it. And there was something else I've watched of his. I was like, "Now, I'll never watch it again."
I was that
But
way. Well, even with Ghost Dog, I was like, okay, this is okay, but it's not anything I'm rushing out to buy or anything. So I still don't have that in my collection. And then I was bored to tears with Only Lovers Left Alive. I don't know if you've seen that one. That was his
I own
vampire
it, have not watched it yet. Trying to think, see what else that he's got going on here. I really like Ghost Dog, but I think it was just at the time I watched it when it first came out, it really was just something different. Patterson, I love. That's like one of
movie.
my favorite movies. Broken Flowers with Bill Murray's really good. What else is there? Dead Man. I haven't watched that yet. That's that Johnny Depp one. It's got the Criterion release that people are either like really good on or not. And then what else?
Okay. I've seen Broken
Down by the
Flowers, or at least
Ball.
most parts of Broken Flowers. Didn't like that one.
I and I think a lot of people don't like that either because it's Bill Murray's kind of weird in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's well, it's Bill Murray, so he's got some weirdness happening. So
Yeah, he is weird. That is true.
yes, that's very true. All right, let's see who's hanging out with us out here tonight. And Caveman was actually first in. What's going on, Caveman? And he says, Will Smith, that like button. I like it. I
Yes.
like it. And Wilkie's movies and music, excuse me. He just says, hey Wilkie, what's
Hey,
going
Woogie.
on? And of course, Film Addiction's in the house. And he says, what's up, Dell and
Cody.
Ryan? There's the man. There's Tony. He says, hi, guys. Uh, and I don't know if I'm pretty sure you saw it in the group chat we have on Instagram, and the subject of the $1,500 Disney box set came up. Um, uh, Somebody asked, I can't remember who asked it, was how many are they going to make of those? Because how many can you sell of those? And my thing was they're going to make two. One, Bob Iger, the CEO, is going to get one, and Tony's going to get one, and that's all you're really going to sell. So
Yeah, I don't know anybody that's going to be buying that at straight up $1,500 MSRP. Like I've already seen, I do a lot of redditing and like in the movie subreddits, and a lot of people are like, "No, this is like a Black Friday deal, or this is we
mhm.
can't sell none. We're going to take 50% off of it. Then maybe we might look at it." But I was looking
Yeah.
at the selection there. There's some of the movie choices. I mean, I know a lot of them are like Disney exclusive stuff, but they're like weird choices. Like some sequels that are in there, and they missed some of like the major regular Disney movies that should have probably been in there. Of course, off the top of my head, I can't think of any, but there's a couple missing in there.
Yeah. For a box set like that, you would think it would have all the classics in it. And
Yes, yeah,
yeah, and you mentioned Black Friday. I mean, if it's like you said, MSRP 1,500, I mean, what can you mark it down to for Black Friday where people are just going to be buying it? I don't,
yeah.
I
Even
don't
even
understand.
half off 750. I mean, that's a house
Right.
payment. That's like
Ex-
a month's worth of groceries,
Yeah, no kidding.
tank of gas.
I just could not imagine spending that and then having to explain that in my,
Yeah.
in my
Oh
house.
yeah. 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 I can't wait for Ken's audit on that one.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. All right, Cody says everyone smash the hell out of that like button. Thank you. Appreciate it. Much appreciated. And we got some highs back and forth as he says, "Hey, Tony, Cody, Caveman, and Adrian." I haven't seen Adrian's name yet, or did I skip over Adrian?
I think he was actually the very, very, very first one. Maybe.
Oh, he's not showing up on my end. Huh, interesting. So if I missed it, Adrian, thank you for being here. I apologize. I don't see the comment on my end though. Here's Tony Ryan, Asian horror for October.
Yeah. I
You did
actually
mention it
I,
had some
I
J
bought
horror coming in.
yeah I bought that ring, and then there's I forget the name of the director's name. He's got something of Malford Men and like Shogun's Joy of Torture and all that. I forget what the director's name. He's got a couple different horror titles too. I'll probably check him out. I've never watched The Ring, so
Okay.
I'll get to watch that.
I I've seen the American version of The Ring, but I've never seen the Japanese originals. That whole series. There's like three of them or four of them.
Four, I think. Yeah.
Four of them. Okay. I've been. It's one of those I've been meaning to get to. I'm gonna get to it sometime. Tiana's in the building. Hey, Tiana.
Tiana.
There's Holland. This is what's going on, gents. We just getting ready to get started here on the topic at hand in a minute. Here's Cody says dedication, ladies and gentlemen. Streaming Dell on movies and Bob's Blu-rays tonight should be interesting. Oh, you got a split screening or one on the phone and one on the TV or however you're doing that. So I
Jake
hope you
from
can pay
State
attention.
Farm's getting inducted tonight into the Hall of Fame. Jake's a good guy. His steelbook collection is amazing. His collection's amazing.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with him. So after this is over, I'm sure they'll be going till 12, 1 o'clock. So I'll go over and
Yeah,
check that
yeah,
out. Those streams tend to run pretty long. And we got some
yeah.
more highs back and forth. I'm just looking for anybody who is new to the chat tonight, not new overall. And there's one. Kira is here.
Kira.
What's going on, Kira? She says, "Hey, everyone." Tony saying hi to the chat. And there's Adrian down here. Says, "Hey, everyone." So somehow uh, Caveman said hi to him before he got here. Not sure how he did that. All right. All right. So again, we got a bunch of people just saying all hi to everyone. Up there's the other half of the double feature podcast, Mika. She says hi, everyone.
Mika.
Yep. And there's another friend of ours, Tim of Tim Talks Talkies, is in. What's going on, Tim? Thanks for checking in.
I was like, he didn't say anything. And I realized there was a hand waving in there.
Yeah, he's got a hand waving. And let's see if anybody else has popped in here. It looks like, yeah, everybody's just kind of saying hi back and forth. So let's go ahead and I see. As I say that, I find somebody. Here's Mr. KB. Says, "Hey fellas, what's up, party people? What's going on, KB?"
I'm glad
As
he's
I've
feeling
I've
better.
said this already. Yeah, I've said this already. It was so good to see him, back live and just kind of doing his thing last week. So very, very glad to see that he's doing better. And sorry about the audio in my recent stream. No need to apologize for that. We all have those technical issues. Last week, I don't know if you saw my stream, my movie swap last week. At some point, I just knocked everything loose over here and was out of my own stream for a few minutes.
Yeah, I seen that.
So we're gonna try to avoid any craziness like that tonight. All right, Laren is in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Lance says hey to he's saying hey to Holland. I'm gonna say hey to Laren. And at this point, I'm going to let you take it away and introduce us to the movie that you had me watch, sir.
All right. So this movie I recommend anytime people ask me for a Criterion uh, suggestion and an Asian Criterion suggestion. And when I did my Asian live stream a couple months ago, you were on it, Dell. And when you said you had not watched this movie, I was like, oh no, that's not good. You've got to see this ridiculousness. So I found a copy for you. I sent it to you, and that kind of prompted the whole movie swap thing. But that is none other than 1977's House, or Hasu, as some people say. And this is a Japanese horror ghost style movie that feels like no one genre because it starts out one way, it ends another way, and it's just a weird movie. And I can't wait to hear your take on it. Seriously. Yes, no
All right.
Nobuhiko Obayashi.
Well, yeah, you said ridiculousness. Here's the copy you sent me, and I really appreciate it.
Yep.
This is the DVD version of the same movie. Um, all right, so ridiculousness you did mention. Let's get into it. The very first thing that jumped off the screen at me was the music. So
Yes.
this thing starts up, and this weird, almost circus-like music just starts on, and I'm looking at the screen like, okay, what the hell is happening here? Because I knew it was a crazy movie, but I don't know if I was ready for the tone of it. Let me put it that way. I was expecting a lot of craziness to happen, but the tone of it kind of threw me off. So this kind of Christmassy, not Christmassy, but circusy kind of music just starts going, and then it just would not stop. It was going through the whole, the whole movie.
Yes.
So, am I the only one bothered by that, or what do you think about all that?
It's so like I didn't the first time I ever watched this movie because everybody told me, "Oh, you need to watch it." I didn't know if I should love it or hate it. By the time I was done with it, I'm like, "Okay, this movie is so bizarre, it's so ridiculous, it's kind of annoying. There's a lot of flaws with it, but it was this just weird, fun romp." But the music in it is definitely different, and the tone shifts within like the first 5 minutes. Are we going to get into spoilers or
I'm gonna try not to spoil it.
okay?
Um, just in case anybody in the chat wants to watch it that hasn't seen it. I know it's an old movie, and I know some people are like, well, it's 40 years old, so what? And I just want to leave it because I like to go into a movie cold myself, or at least not knowing the end. So I try
Right.
not to spoil it. If we should happen to it, if we can't avoid it, then so be it.
Yeah, but I
But
mean,
okay,
it,
you
it,
can
start, it
go ahead and
starts
finish
off
your
as
point.
a family movie, quote unquote, and this girl's in love with her teacher, which I don't know if you caught that in like the beginning, and then it just
I
transitions
really
into
didn't, to
this.
be honest.
Yeah, yeah, Mr. Togo is the teacher, and they reference him several times, but then it turns into this trip of these five girls going to this aunt's house, and then it just completely changes the whole mood of the movie after that.
Yeah, so I remember them referencing somebody that she liked, she was in love with, and I think I had sensory overload really quickly, so I never really caught on that that was the teacher. But I knew there
Yes,
was
Mr.
somebody that she liked, and I eventually I did figure it out. It was like later in the movie, and it was like, okay, okay, so that's a weird whole thing. We mentioned the girls going to visit the aunt's house, but it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like 30 minutes before they do that.
Yeah,
So
because
more or
they do
less,
like
or if am I
yeah,
just
no,
misremembering?
because there's the whole hippie trip to the train station that is obviously just a canvas and like a very poorly designed set. And then there's like two random American guys in the movie.
Yep.
And then they get on the train, and then this cat shows up, and then they take a trip, and then they meet the watermelon melon salesman that scares them. And yeah, like they don't make it to the aunt's house until like 35-40 minutes into the movie.
Yeah. And it is nutty stuff happening all the way through. So it's not like in a lot of movies where if the main plot doesn't happen for that long, is kind of slow, or some methodical kind of setup, and then boom, we get into the plot. This is just nuttiness right from jump. and
Yes.
all the way through through that first time. But when we finally get to the aunt's house, yeah, the tone shifts again, but it's I don't want to call it creepy. And I think for me personally, that music had something to do with it. It just kept me from ever getting to that point where like, oh man, this is dreadful. What's happening here? It was like, it was like, oh, this is this. Oh, look at them. Hey, look at that. That's what's happening. Kind of thing, kind of vibe. The whole way through.
And
Um,
I mean, I've
go,
watched
go
it
ahead.
2
I'll
times
get something to
now.
say.
I've watched it 2 times now, and I still don't know what happens in the second half. It's just so crazy. There's nothing's tied up. There's so many loose ends. Some things are never explained, and you're just left like, okay, what is going on?
Exactly. Now, you mentioned one thing that really perplexed me throughout the movie, and that was this watermelon. I was like, why are we carrying around this
Yeah.
watermelon? Is it some kind of symbol? Because I'm looking for it. Like, is there a deeper meaning to this watermelon, or is it going to come into play as far as like a big payoff with this watermelon? And I mean, kind of got a payoff with the watermelon. Did did that bother you at all, or was it just one of those things that was part of the fabric?
One of those things that was part of the favorite, but I mean, it was Mac was carrying around the watermelon, and she was the girl that likes to eat.
Right,
So
right.
that kind of made sense. And then, of course, what happens to her makes sense too. Like, I guess it was kind of like foreshadowing symbolism, but the foreshadowing was just really, really poor. And I know we're not doing a good job of selling this movie, but everybody needs to watch this movie because it's just batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cuss,
So
but
yeah, I guess as part of that is me. I'm just trying to work through the movie right
yeah,
now, and so yeah, we're not doing a great job of selling it right now, and that's like I said, I'm trying to work my way through things. You mentioned a girl who likes to eat. Her name was Mac, and all the girls have allegorical names. We got the main character is
yeah,
gorgeous because she's pretty. We got Kung Fu
which
because
does
she's
kung
does
fu,
Kung Fu. We got
fantasy,
yeah, yeah. Mac, we said like fantasy, who's a daydreamer, and
and
so
I can't
that
remember
was
the
that
fifth
was
one's name.
interesting. I was like, I can't either, and I just looked at it a minute ago to refresh my memory, but I can't remember her name. Um, but that was an interesting choice to me. So I couldn't decide if they were trying to be funny or trying to be lazy or both. I couldn't really decide if the filmmakers, not the people in the movie, when they came up with these names. Um, but it definitely spoke to their personality, so to speak. All right,
Yes,
so yeah, so let's get to some of the interesting
Melody,
parts.
the because
The
Melody,
music, yes,
the thing
like
happens.
the music. Right,
Yes,
right, right. So it's a movie you watch for the crazy visuals and just the bonkers happenings. Early on, we get one. Not well, I wouldn't say too early, but we get one where one of the heads has been decapitated or severed. We don't see that part, but we see the head just floating along, and then it bites. I think it was gorgeous. He bites her on the backside, and
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yeah. The backside, yes,
yeah, yeah, bites her on the backside, and she goes running off, and it's almost like Looney Tunish the way some of these things happen. She gives the little scream, she's like ah, and then kind of runs off. And do you have any favorites from at least early on parts of the movie?
um, I'm trying to think, which girl is it? Fantasy kinda got, like, the raw deal of all of it because she's seen the majority of everything that happened,
Hmm.
and, when the aunt goes into the refrigerator and she, like, freaks out, like, there were subtle things they were doing in there, but the main things that stand out are definitely the watermelon part and then the piano
Yes,
part. The piano part was just crazy weird.
yes, the piano part was amazing. I would definitely agree with that. That was pretty amazing. And it's even if we described it, it's one of those things that you kind of got to see. So I,
Yes.
I would, yeah, I definitely would lean in. you kind of got to see what's happening with this. Let me see if anybody out here has seen House. We got Tiana just saying some more haze back and forth with some folks, and let's see, Laren saying Nala is getting a sibling. So, oh, we hold on a second. Somebody, so is are we getting a new cat? Yep,
Tiana's getting a new cat.
Tiana
Yep.
is getting a new cat. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, getting a sibling. So let us know how that goes. Keep us up. We all love to hear about the cats. And KB says Jim Jarmusch is a big hip hop head. I mean, that's nice to know. Not gonna make me like his movies anymore. Sorry, but that's just me.
Yeah. Like I said, he's hit or
And
miss. Man, I like
yes, he's
about
getting
50% of his movies.
yeah, yeah. Spicy is in the house. He says, "What's up, Dove, Ryan, and the chat? What's going on, Spicy? Good to see you hanging out." And it's Laren saying hey to Mika and Kira, and Caprice is in the building. She says hello, my darlings, and I can't do it like
Caprice.
she does. So glad that she is here. And we got some more highs, and I'm looking to see if anybody has said anything about. Well, here's another Jim Jarmusch comment. Holland says, "Down by Law, I enjoyed. I haven't seen that one. I've
It's in the
heard of it, but
Criterion
I haven't
collection.
seen
I picked it up and I still haven't watched. I've got so many movies I need to watch.
it. Don't we all?
Yeah.
I mean, once you get up past even 400 or 500 movies, there's a good chance that you got a good chunk of them that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
Because by that time, you're starting to you've gotten past just collecting the movies you like, and you either buying new things or taking suggestions from people, and so we all have them, you know, and it's all good. Culture Trinity's in the house. I almost haven't seen you in a while. He says, "What's up,
Trini.
people? What's going on, Trini?" And if you hadn't noticed, we are talking about uh, House. I almost said the other movie for a second. Fish is here. What's going on, Fish? He says, "Good evening,
Fish.
gentlemen and chat." Glad to see Fish is here. And Laren, Dead Man Rules. Dead Man Rules. Great Western. Is that another Jaramush? I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, that's the Johnny Depp one that kind of here recently has gotten a resurgence because of the whole Depp Heard thing and all that.
Okay, got it. Got it. All
Yeah.
right. Let's see if anybody doesn't look like anybody has seen House yet or is talking about House. And Kira says, "I'll admire that Disney box from afar right now." Of course, that's what the rest of us will do.
Yeah.
Um,
That's nothing I'm even remotely interested in at all.
yeah, no, I'm not trying to do that. Caveman says, "Miss Caveman could use some prayers. Her Chihuahua Angel has
Oh,
passed away just 5 hours ago. Sorry to hear that.
sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that." Yeah. So I hope she's doing all right, as coping with it as best as possible, or as good as possible. We got Agent says sorry to hear that. Spicy, Disney will release a 4K version of that set 3 to 6 months later. Jeez, what are they going to sell that one for? If the 50, the blue
Jeez.
is 15.
Yeah, just double it.
In general, Disney prices they overprice everything anyway.
Yeah.
So that's you know it's crazy. And then they don't like to drop the price after things. So sorry for you and Cave Lady. They don't like to drop the price on anything at all ever. So it's stuff that they released a year ago, still they're charging full price for. I'm still up in the air about the Disney box set, says Tony. Okay,
I figure that been a
okay.
day
So
one
I'll wait for the
order
video of
from
you
Tony.
unboxing. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for the video of him unboxing it because I'm pretty sure that's coming. Latulo is here. He says, "What's up, Dell and Ryan? Hello to the chat."
How's it going?
All right, so let's get back to the movie. And in that second half, so you mentioned that you've seen it twice now. I've seen it once, and you're still not quite sure what's going on. Um, was it a little bit easier to pick up on what's going on this time around?
Yeah, I paid a little bit more attention. I mean, honestly, the ant had a lot to do with it, and it was like some inner body changing weird, like because Gorgeous becomes the ant at one point, and then like the new mom comes into the picture at the end of it, and then like there's this whole mommy thing going on. This movie is just weird. I mean, I hope you picked up on the mommy thing. It I
Yeah,
just
I did. I did.
I still don't know what happened to the ant. I think that's the only thing I can't remember is the ant. Did she just disappear, or did she just turn into the new mom, or did Gorgeous suck her into her own body? I don't
It's
remember.
I wanna say that last thing happened, or vice versa. She sucked in Gorgeous. I it's yeah, I wanna
Yeah,
say that that happened. I'm like you, though, I can't say for sure. Mika has seen it. She says, "House is so trippy."
you're
KB,
not wrong.
that movie is crazy.
Well, and you said
Yeah,
it
KB
best.
says
It is a sensory overload. I mean, from the get go, it just seems like a typical teeny bopper Japanese movie with just these girls running around like hee 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 hee, and then it
yep,
turns into
yep.
like this semi drug trip, even though there's no drugs, and then it's
Mhm.
trying to be horror with like this weird comedic overtone on it, and it's just
Yeah.
he did it well, but I completely understand why A, people would be turned off by it, but yet I didn't really think about the music either. B, I guess the music is kind of annoying all the way through the movie, but I was just so like, what the heck is
Mhm.
going on? I didn't really pay attention to it.
Yeah. Larry says, "Wow, Dell finally got to experience the madness." Yes, yes, I did. And to your point, it's when you saw say comedic overtones, it's not like comedy horror like we normally think of it. You
No.
know, it's not even something, let's say, something like Tucker and Dale, for instance, versus Evil. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yeah, I
Or
have.
yeah. It's not that where it's easy to tell that they're making fun of something else, or Young Frankenstein, for instance, where it's easy to tell that they're making fun of something else.
Right.
It's kind of in its own category, and it's just hard to make heads or tails of what it's trying to do for a while, and you kind of gotta, you know, work your way into the movie or let it work its way into you
Yes.
for a while. And it's so I could see. I'm like you. I can see why people would be like, "Nah, I'm good on this one." So,
Yeah, I will say the second
I
viewing through, I was able to soak it in more. Like since I kind of knew what was going to happen and all that, and I did enjoy it even more. So I would still probably give it like the 5 stars just because it is a classic and it is just so bat crazy. But yeah, it's really like you said, it's more closer to like if people are even familiar, like Mr. Vampire or Encounters of the Spooky Kind with Sammo Hung, or even
Mhm.
Spiritual Kung Fu from Jackie Chan, more of that
Yeah,
just weird Japanese early horror where they were trying to mix like fake ghosts and ghouls in with real life people, and it was just it's weird,
right.
weird.
Yeah, I've seen Spiritual Kung Fu, and that is an odd movie. That is the sore thumb of Jackie Chan's filmography for sure.
Yes,
It's an odd one. Cody's asking KB if it's worth a pickup. So I'll ask you, since you picked it up. I'm gonna assume you're gonna say yes, it is worth a pickup.
well, I always if people ask me for Asian Criterion recommendations, I will always have this in the 3 or 5 I recommend. It's just a must watch. It's by a famous director. And it's just one of those classic ones that always stand out. I mean, Criterion sells the shirts with the cat face on it, like on their page. So it's just one of those standout titles that I think everybody should see. It may not be like the first, if you're first getting into Asian cinema, it may not be like the very first thing I suggest you watch, but it should definitely be in like the first 3 or 5 movies that you ever watch of any kind of Asian movies, especially Asian horror, if you
Mm,
want to call it Asian horror.
okay. 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 I'm
I know
gonna wait till
you
my
sound
till
like
we
you're
get
going
to
to
the
differ.
end. I'm gonna differ, and I'll tell you why. But I'm not now though. I'm gonna wait till I get to my overall
That's fine.
thoughts on it. So I will mention that. Caprice said House is a trip. Love that movie. All right. We got some more Hayes, and KB's take on it is if you can catch it on a deal, it's definitely worth a watch. Okay, that makes sense. And here's Bob, and I'm gonna assume just before he went and started his own
Yeah.
stream tonight. He's just saying, "Hey Dell, hey Ryan, have a great stream. Thank you, Bob, and we'll pop in over there. Or at least I will. I'm not sure if Ryan, if you're gonna have time to do that tonight.
I've been up since 3 this morning. It's 8:36 my time. So, I'm probably going to bed after this
Oh,
stream.
go to bed. Oh yeah, go to bed. No doubt, no doubt.
That'll be good.
Cody says y'all sold it. Bad shit, crazy sold. Okay.
It's even if
So
you don't wanna have it in your collection, it's something I think people should at least experience once. You know, everybody has those one movies that's just really, really insane that you should at least watch once, and this is the one that I always recommend.
okay, and Holland agrees with you. He says everyone needs to experience House. Uh, so yeah, he definitely agrees with you. And Cody says sounds like it. That's for sure. And and Kira has not seen House. She says still got to watch
I'm
House.
surprised Mika
Okay,
has not made her watch that.
I am surprised. Well, has Mika seen it?
Yes, she
That's
gave it a
such a
thumbs up, I think, earlier, didn't she?
Oh yes, that's right. She did say it was trippy. She did say that. Yes. Kira's Only Lovers Left Alive. I know that they're fans of that movie. And Mika's chiming in says favorite film Jim Jarmusch's Only Lovers Left Alive. Sorry, ladies, I just could not stand that movie. I was so bored and so pissed off with that movie by the time it was over. Not for me. Um, Night on Earth is probably the next Jarmusch I want to see. That's what Holland says. So we got a lot of Jarmusch comments going on here tonight. I'm going to give it a rewatch. And Cody says, "Thanks, Ryan. I'll definitely be checking it out. Let's put a pin in for there for the time. We're caught up anyway. All right. So for me, the second half of the movie, yeah, actually, I think it started to make a little more sense to me in the second half. Not that you're not wrong by any stretch because yeah, things don't get tied up. It's not one of those neat ending kind of things. But
Yeah.
I think by that time, I had finally kind of gotten with the movie. Like, okay, this is what we're doing. And it was easier for me to actually see the story through all the madness. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we have a story here. We just gotta, pick through, certain to get to it. So for me, yeah, the second half was a little bit easier to pick up on the first half because the first half I spent really trying to find a way into it. I was like, okay, this is all this is coming at me, but I don't know, what's actually happening. It's just a bunch of stuff
Right.
happening. And yeah, batshit insane is perfect descriptor
And the
of
one
it.
thing I did pick up on the second watch, I didn't pick up the first time, was the aunt. Actually, some of the things the aunt said and alluded to, it made me realize that she's just basically been killing off the village. And like she's kind of like a pseudo vampire, I guess. I don't know if you caught that
Hmm.
because she's like
Hmm.
she made like a comment about
I
people used
didn't.
to come to the house all the time, and then now the village is starting to disappear and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Then everybody else in the house is getting disappeared. So it started to make sense the second time.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't take it as a vampire. I just thought she was just just killing people.
So
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I could see that. Um, yeah, I could definitely see that. So by well, let's just go ahead and get to my overall. Well, nope. Before I do that, so it's before I do that, the movie's called House, and it is essentially, at least from my first viewing, it's essentially a haunted house movie. And I mean, that was the other issue with it. Was like it's definitely different than any other haunted house movie I've ever seen. That's for sure.
Yes.
And I don't know if you picked up on that aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah, because there's several things that happen that, like when the shutters all shut, and of course everything comes alive. The skeleton that's in like every shot once the house starts going a little crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's one of those things where haunted house movies, I think they're really effective, um, if you watch them at night in the dark,
Yeah,
and especially if you happen to be watching alone. But this movie would not play that way, I don't think. It doesn't require that, and it's not really going for that. But like you said, it's one of those early kind of Japanese horrors where I think they're still figuring it out because there
yes,
really wasn't much horror before before this, as far as
no,
Japanese cinema is concerned. At least not that I'm aware of. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into the final thoughts on House. And again, just for anybody who's interested, yes, there's House, directed by Nobuhiko Obayashi. Um, I think I said that fairly decently.
you said it better than I did.
All right, so my overall thoughts with this movie. So this is going to be a movie swap first because I've had movies that someone had me watch that I really loved. I've had movies that others guests have made me watch that I really didn't like at all. This is a movie where I don't know. I don't have no idea if I like this movie or not.
I'm going to tell you
I
right now,
don't.
I'm not disappointed because I kind of figured that's where you might end up on it.
Yeah, yeah. Now I will say this: so much happens, though. I am intrigued to watch it again, to pick it up and go, okay, let's see if we can piece it together a little bit more the second time, and just to see some of the craziness again. I agree. It is a movie that needs to be experienced, but I'm going to disagree with you on where you said it should be one of the first five Japanese or Asian movies you watch. The reason I'm gonna disagree with that is because I think that if it's one of those first few that you watch, you might get jaded, either one way or the other. As in, you're
Okay.
expecting every movie to be like this, and then you might really like it, or you'll be really turned off by it, and like, oh, the Japanese movies is just they're too nutty, they're too crazy for me, and then not want to continue down the road. So I would say if you're a little more seasoned in it, maybe not wait years and years like I did, but if you've seen at least 10 of them, then I'd say, okay, go ahead, jump into House because then you got a pretty good idea of what Asian horror has to offer, Asian cinema has to offer. And when I say 10, I would say um outside of just martial arts films, because I know a lot of people automatically go, okay, Asian cinema, martial arts. So outside of martial arts films, if you just have 10 other Asian movies that you've seen, then somewhere in that area after that, it's like, okay, that's probably a good time to jump in the House, at least in my opinion. Because I wouldn't want somebody to be like, oh, House, that was, it was fun, it was crazy, but no, I don't want to watch that all the time. And I know how people sometimes do things like that. They make these blanket statements, oh, I can't watch black and white movies, or oh, I can't watch movies starring this guy, or oh, I can't watch a movie because it's this genre. And I think it would be easy for people to go, oh, that Japanese movies, no, they're just too crazy for me. So I would recommend waiting
Yeah, I see your point
a
on there,
little
but
bit.
I wouldn't say like I usually only give that suggestion whenever I'm giving Criterion suggestions because I mean there is a lot of Asian cinema in the Criterion collection, but House is just so far different from a lot of everything else that's in the collection. I mean, you got a couple other ghost stories like Onibaba and Agetsu, but then you got a lot of samurai stuff. You got the all the drama stuff. You got the post war stuff. So House really just kind of stands out on its own. So if I give a Criterion recommendation, that's usually what I give. But I was looking for my review when I first watched this, and it's a holy crap, what did I just watch? It was so good, it was bad. It was so bad, it was good. A disaster piece, maybe. Overall, enjoyed this movie, but I'm going to have to rewatch it at some point to fully appreciate it. But I still gave it 5 stars just because I was so blown away by it.
Okay. That makes sense, and I mean that fully makes sense because, yeah, like I said, I watched it and it was literally right when it was over. It was like, what? Okay, what the hell did I just watch? Did I like this? I don't know. Was it good? It might have been. Was it terrible? It might have been. I don't I don't know
And
what this is. Do I want to see it again? Sure, because it's rattling around in here and I don't know what it is or what it's doing. So yeah, I would agree with that. That's perfectly said because it's just the way I felt about it. I just was not sure what
yep,
it
and
was.
I figured that's where you were going to be at it because, like I said, it's a very very weird movie. Is it done well? I don't really know because there's a ton of flaws in it. The CGI
Hmm.
is horrible. Um,
Hmm.
the acting is definitely not top notch at all. The
No.
set design is really, really, really minimal. Like I said in the beginning, they go to the train station. You can literally tell that is just a drop down sheet, and it's just a weird, not done well movie. But it's so not good. It's good in a weird way.
Yeah, it has that kind of a little bit of Ed Wood to it in that all these bad things they come together to kind of make it their own magic,
Yeah.
and it works for the movie. So yeah, all those things you mentioned, absolutely true. Caprice says, "Love that answer." I don't know. It is what it is. I couldn't put it any other way. Mika, it's hard to determine if you do like it. You're right. You're kind of left with wondering what's what or what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just. I think it's just fact of the matter. But with that said, though, it is something that I think you should experience at some point. Uh, this is down $40 on Amazon. Looked at the pics and it looks beautifully insane. I would say if you're gonna buy it, wait till July, November, whenever the Criterion sales roll around, or if you catch it on one of their flash sales or something
I was
like
gonna say the
that.
flash sale should be this. Did they have a flash sale in October? I know they have that
I'm not
twice a
sure.
year.
It's one of those flash sales I never catch. For ones
Yeah.
when either I don't have the money when it's time, or I just miss it, and the next day everybody's, "Oh, look what I got on the Criterion flash sale." Oh well, I'll catch. I know July is a whole month. I know November's a
Okay.
whole month.
Yeah. Laren's correcting me. I'm sorry, Laren, not CGI, blue screen.
Yeah, yeah, no CGI back in '77. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mika, great visuals in the film. And there's the correcting comment. Yes.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
great
You
chat
you
though.
can definitely tell the blue screen, especially on the piano scene, which the piano scene was weird. Like that was a trip in itself. It's like we were already in a trip, and then like they hit you with the second dab of acid, and then like the piano scene kicked in. You're like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Yeah, what is going on for sure. Kara eager to check out soon, if only to experience Stell. And Mika's ahead of the game. So yeah, Mika's seen it. She has not. And KB has flash sale news for us. It's flash sale middle of October, so there was one,
Okay.
or is one
I
coming
couldn't
up.
remember. I couldn't remember if it was before or after the Barnes and Noble sale.
Yeah, so I'm guessing so that makes it before then, because then we're looking at
Yeah.
November for the whole month. And I usually sit out of November, but I may get a couple of things this year. I don't know. Do you usually get things in November?
I usually buy in both, but I bought way 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 too much in July. The only thing I'm looking to pick up is like La Bamba that just came out this week, and
Mhm.
then November I think there's like two or three titles I want to pick up. But I always say this, I'm going to be good and I'm not going to buy a whole lot, but I know Barnes and Noble's just I got an email the other day that their points system they changed it a little bit, so I'm wondering I got so much free stuff at the last sale. I bought so much, I got so much free stuff because that points thing.
Mhm.
So if they do like the double and triple points for this sale, I'm going to be in trouble.
That's usually me in July. It's like I say I'm gonna get 2 or 3 things, and I wind up with 6 or 7 things.
Yeah.
And I know, some of you guys, you get 10, 20, 30 titles.
I think I had like 32 or 34. I went way overboard. I spent way too much money and I shouldn't have. I really shouldn't have. But again, double and triple points, like I think I think it boiled down to you could buy 2.5 titles when they had the triple points and get a title free, basically. So like
Mm.
every 5 titles you're buying, you're getting two free almost. So it was like, oh well, spend money and get more stuff free, and then before you know it, you've done bought way too much stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a lot of us have those things, even if it's not Criterion, we do it somewhere else.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and that's how we wind up with all these large collections. One of the ways we end up with these large
yes.
collections. And oh, look who's here. Huck is in the building, at least for a time. He says, "Hey, party people, still at work, but I have you on the side. Don't tell my boss. I won't say anything if you won't. That's for sure. Thank you for stopping in, and hope you don't get in trouble on my account. That's for sure. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over to the other movie. Let's switch
All
gears,
right.
and I'm gonna tell the people what movie I recommended for you. And this one is we're going from Japan to Korea. And this movie is a right on the cover. It tells us it is Seven meets Silence of the Lambs, and the title of the movie is one that, as you've told us many times, Ryan, because I know you just recently purchased it. It's hard to search for because of the title, and the title of it is just H. So in the movie, we have a murderer on the loose, a serial killer on the loose. Right away, we discover some bodies in a landfill. One of it's a woman and a baby nearby, and then very quickly, there's another woman that's murdered, and we have a detective, and I'll show the detective who is actually on the back. She is the lead detective on the case, and she's working with this guy on the front plus another guy, and they're trying to solve the case. But these crimes seem to be imitating a serial killer who's already locked up. So of course they go to visit this guy and try to get some help from him and to solve the crime. And that's where I'll leave it right there. And yeah, right off the bat, it's there it is. Right off the bat, it's a grisly movie, um, at least at the start. And I'm gonna show mine again just for a second. I'm gonna go back big, and reason is I got to do. I don't know if this is a weird flex or not, but mine is in a Blockbuster case because that's where I got it
Ah,
used at Blockbuster so many years ago. And if you read it, it says Blockbuster right there. Got it back when I was working at Blockbuster.
I just got
But
the slip version. So
there you go. I don't have a slip on mine. So right off the bat, like I said, it is a pretty grisly movie, and I like I said, I know you're not the biggest horror fan. So how are you doing right at that opening?
I enjoyed it because I Saw the Devil is my favorite movie, and by far that movie's brutal. So I just actually watched
Oh
this
yeah,
today. I
no
had
doubt.
a just a crap weekend. My daughter was sick. We got her over that. I finally sat down day when I got off work and I watched this. And I didn't so much get the Silence of the Lambs part of this movie, but it definitely felt very Seven. Um,
Mhm.
and they were very deep. The one thing I like about Korean movies, they're pretty detailed, and the gory deaths in the beginning didn't bother me at all. I've seen that stuff before in real life, but um, I like how detailed they are in this movie. That's one thing Korean movies usually do a really good job of. They set up the story well, they tell a lot of detail, and it doesn't drag the movie down.
Right. Um, for the Silence of the Lambs, I think is really referring to I think Shin Hyun, I think was his name,
Okay,
the killer
yeah,
who's already been convicted. So they
yeah,
had
Buffalo
to
Bill,
go, yeah, they had
or
to
I'm
keep
not.
go
I'm sorry,
visiting
Lecter,
yeah,
Lecter, yeah,
Hannibal Lecter. And ostensibly that makes the other, I'm not going to spoil that, but whoever else is involved as the Buffalo Bill. uh
yeah.
what do you think of him? So this is my second time watching. I hadn't watched it in some years before, and for him, I wanted an older actor, and I didn't think he was quite as creepy as I wanted him to be.
The main the The one in jail,
yeah,
Shin Hyuk or whatever I
Shin
think
Yoon or
was his
Shin
character's
Yun,
name.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I could have stood for being a little bit more of a seasoned person. Um, Even though I love that actor, I've seen a couple of movies with him in there. Like he's a good standout. But yeah, it would have, I think, been better if he would have been about 10 or 15 years older and been a little bit more grizzlied.
Mhm.
But I did notice like everybody in the cast is young in this movie. So
Yes, yes, they are.
it would have benefited to have the main guy that's already been caught be a little bit more older.
Right, right. I think the only thing it would have thrown some things out of whack though because of the lead detective's history with him. So
Yeah.
that would meant she would have to have been older probably. Well then again maybe not because he's only been in jail what less than a year I think, right?
Yeah, I think they said like 6 or 8 months or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Um So maybe not. But yeah, I wanted an older actor with more gravitas, and can definitely bring that creep factor. So he was not Anthony Hopkins, that was for sure. He was he was not.
No.
But that
He
said,
w
he wasn't bad.
No, he was almost in some parts whenever the detective's talking to him, I really felt he was a little bit too playful, like, it kinda took him out of the character just a touch, but yeah,
Mhm.
overall, he wasn't bad.
Right, right. Um, so what did you think of the I guess we want to call him because you mentioned this it is a lot like Seven, the new guy, so I guess he's like the Brad Pitt character almost of the story, um, that is working with him, the gentleman on the front of the cover. What did you think of him early on and how he was behaving?
I kinda didn't like him, I kinda just thought he was the hot shot, like, kinda very close to the Brad Pitt character where he's like, "Oh, I know everything, come on, let's go, let's do this, oh, nothing affects me," and I was like, "Okay, something's gonna happen with him that he's gonna regret being like that," and it does.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
very,
it
very
does.
Brad
It does.
Pitt-like.
Now, yeah. Now he was also though he was a little different in one way in that about halfway through the movie it was not even halfway. It's almost like everything affects him. He's like really emotional about things, and even at one point, the um the lead detective, she's like, you're just too emotional, dude. You got to get over this,
Yeah.
and she kind of slugs him one,
Yes.
and then
She gives
drops
him
him.
a good right hook.
Yes, yes, and that was interesting. Um, Early on, was it? Well, not early on, but throughout the movie, it is a slow burn. Was it too slow for you, or how did the pacing work?
No, I thought it was paced well. The only complaint I had about this movie, was the music, and I don't know when was this movie made? I don't remember.
I want to say '03, '02.
Like, I just felt the music choices were kind of off. Like, they just didn't fit the movie. And the
Mhm,
movie kind of felt a little bit low budget to me, so maybe that was a constraint on it, but it still
mhm.
was a good movie. Like, slow doesn't bother me because they paced it well, and Korean, like I said, Korean movies are very well about keeping you interacted, keeping you informed what's going on. There's not way too much story going on. It's just enough to keep the story moving along.
Yeah,
You're
they
gonna
did
tell me you
manage to
felt
do that.
differently, didn't you?
No. I was just curious because anytime a movie is kind of deliberately paced, I get the feeling like okay, it might work for me, but for somebody else, it might be a little bit too slow. So that's why I asked that question.
No, I
And
thought
for
it was
instance,
good.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, for instance, a couple weeks back, when my daughter was at home before she went back to school, I showed her The Exorcist for the first time, the original, because the new one's coming out and all that, and it was just too slow for her. And by the end of it, she's like, "It was okay," and I'm like, my head's spinning because I'm like, "The Exorcist is just okay. What is wrong with you?" And we got to the root of it, and that's what it was. It was like it was just too slow for her, and
Right.
she's used to more snappy kind of movies. Um, so we have we have all the way through. We get these. I want to say red herrings, but they're almost not red herrings.
The
What do you think about that?
the copycats, or are you talking about
Yeah,
to what the end of the story
the
brings?
well, both in conjunction. So I'm thinking the copycats. So are they red herrings or are they not?
I think the first one is. The second one, not so much, because by that point they already got stuff figured out for the most part. I
Hmm.
think, but the first copycat most definitely I think was more of a red herring than the second one.
Okay, okay. And did we establish did he live or die? I because it was like he took two and he's still breathing, but I don't think we ever went back to him. I don't remember them going
So
back at all.
at the very like the last 20 minutes of the movie, they show him waking up and the doctor's talking to
Yes,
him, and that's when they're putting
yes.
two and
Okay,
two together and they're realizing what's going on.
okay. Some reason I totally blanked on that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are correct. You are correct.
Yeah, because they pretty much shot him, they put him in the hospital, then you don't see him again until that one scene, and then you don't know anything else after that.
Right, right. So that was yeah, for some reason I blanked totally on that scene. How about that lead detective? Did she pull off the stoic uh grizzled vet of the group? Did she pull that off to you?
I thought she did really well because you don't in Asian movies, you really don't see a whole lot of good, strong female leads in that style role. I mean, there's plenty of like
Right,
martial arts and all that, but for
right.
like these crime, it's usually mano a mano. It's usually guy versus guy. The smarter
Mhm.
one wins. But she definitely did a really good job, and the whole backstory about what happened to her partner and all that stuff. Like she played it really, really well.
Yes, I thought she was the highlight of the movie for me. So
Yes.
I will definitely agree with that. Let's see if anybody's got anything to say about it. I doubt anybody's seen this movie, to be honest with you. Those double triple points got me for about 10 titles in July. Yeah, there you go. And we got Huck saying hi to Caprice, and we got a bunch of highs back and forth. And up there is my guys here. Uh, big Chris Floyd House Fix.
Floyd
Floyd
House
House Flicks. Sorry.
flicks.
Exactly. Peace, peace. I'm ready when you are. What's up, Ryan? All right, so let's do this. I'll hit you up and let's look into November. I'll hit you up soon though. Let's look at November because October I'm already all booked up and we got a lot of horror stuff coming. And yep, there she goes. And we got Larry saying what's up to everybody. All right. Let's see. Just kind of scrolling through, see if anybody has seen anything. And up here's Huck talking about your flash sale. It says, hey, I missed it. No, you didn't miss it. It's coming in October. Who's having a flash sale in mid-October? That's Criterion, Huck. So we're looking for it, pick up some things in the Criterion flash sale. And Mika never saw H. Not many people have.
So again, going back to what you said,
That is
so you mentioned this on the Asian stream, and I immediately added to my list this and the neighbor number 13, and
yes.
I couldn't find an I on IMDb. I actually had to figure out who the director was, look at the director's profile to get to the IMDb page for this. And looking on eBay, I didn't realize this was a Tartan Asian Extreme. So I'm guessing if you're looking at eBay, I was going to look up real quick if you have to add the Tartan Asian Extreme. Because if you just look up H on eBay or even Amazon or
No,
anything like that, no.
no, no way.
So yeah,
No
you
way.
actually have to put the Tartan Asian Extreme. So H space Tartan Asian Extreme for it to get pop up. And I didn't do that whenever I was looking initially. I just got lucky. I happened to walk in a Half Price Books when I was on vacation, and it was sitting right there. I was like, "No way!" So I grabbed it real quick.
See, it was meant to be.
Yes.
It was definitely meant to be. All right, one hand typing, sorry. And usually you do that stuff when you on a different kind of website, so I'm not gonna go down
Floyd's
that
happy
road.
to see us.
All right.
Big Chris is happy to see us.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. All right. Yeah, there he goes. Kyrus is eager to see H. Yeah, I would recommend. Good to see your pal Huck saying hey to Caveman. And question for you. Comment for you. Ryan didn't like the music. He needed a beat that he could dance to. Now that said, the closing song I really did like though, the one that was playing
Yeah,
over the credits. I thought that
yeah.
was a pretty
I
good
think it
song.
was really like the first, because the movie's like an hour 46. I think it was really about the first 45 minutes. Like the music
Mhm.
just didn't seem to fit the tone of the movie. And then when we got into the second half, when they started figuring stuff out, and then the club scene and all that, the music did kind of change gears and fit a little bit better. So the ending song, the ending song had a meaning too. But yeah, it was pretty good from like
Yeah,
the club scene on.
right, right. We got some laughter there. KB says Criterion usually does. He's talking to Huck about that sale. Good lead female in JSA. Have you seen JSA?
Oh yeah, I just watched that. I watched that right before that Asian live stream, and I really like that movie. That's it.
I think I've seen it in that one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but at some points, do they like throw in some English words here and there?
They do. It's the joint security area between North and South Korea, and then they bring in the Switzerland neutral team that has a Korean on it, and she does speak English with the other Switzerland guy. Like there's
Okay.
English and Korean thrown around.
Okay. Thank you. So funny story about that. When I was watching it, and of course, I'm sitting there with the subtitles on, and as it's playing, one of those English words or sentences just hops up, and like I immediately stopped, and I was like, "Wait a minute, am I starting to understand Korean now? Is this popping into my?"
You had an epiphany, and it just
Yeah,
appeared like, oh, he can
yeah,
read
and then
now.
I rewound it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, she just said it in English." That's
Yeah,
what she said. All right, Cody, name of the movie again. Sorry here. I'm gonna put it up, and there it is. H,
yeah.
and
H.
here it is. If you want little bigger, directed by Lee Jong Hyuk. hmm
Which he only has. I think this was his first and only movie, and he wrote and directed this, and he did a really good job.
hmm So that surprises me that it would be his only movie. This would be the one. You would think he would get more work.
I just said that, and now I'm gonna bite my tongue on that, but I'm almost certain that's his only movie. Or am I completely wrong? No, it's his first movie. It's not his only movie. It was his
Okay.
first movie. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Wrote and directed it.
Got it. Got it. James is in the building. What's going on, James? What's up, Dylan, Ryan, and
What's
everybody?
up,
Horror Month
James?
is almost here. And yeah, we're talking some horror-ish, horror adjacent kind of movies. Would you label this a horror movie?
Um, thriller. I would more thriller than horror, but it does kind of fit that revengey, like just dirty Korean horror. I wouldn't say it's really horror. It's more dark thriller. I don't even dark thriller is not even really a thing, but it's more in the vein of like Old Boy or I Saw the Devil or Bittersweet
Mhm.
Life or stuff like that, where it's just a semi revenge thriller.
Right, right.
Because the
I
killer is technically getting revenge in this,
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of,
true,
or trying to.
true. It's until this rewatch, I had forgotten about that aspect of it, so I wouldn't have said that before. But yeah, you are right. Um, I'm a person who's kind of real easy to label something as horror, not because it scares me or anything. It's just it's like, okay, they're going for certain things in the movie that I think, and I'm that weird person that actually labels like Seven as a horror movie, even though I know it's a thriller, but I still label it as a more horror than thriller. Um, but I'm easy in that way. I'm kind of a mark for that. So don't go by that. I'm also a Jaws as a horror person. Even Jurassic
Jaws
Park,
is
I'm
a
like,
horror
it's a
movie.
horror.
It's a creature feature.
Yeah. And people, especially they went, oh, Jaws is not a horror movie. I was like, it's a shark eating people. What do
Did you go on the water after watching Jaws for how many years? Exactly. It's a horror movie. It's a
exactly,
psychological horror movie.
exactly. And I saw it really young in the theater, so oof, no, I do not mess around with the ocean. Just does not happen
Yes.
for me. Not one bit. So we still have a lot of highs going back and forth. Uh, Trini says JSA is great. I need to rewatch it because it's been some time since I saw that one. Holland agrees it is, and Florida Revenge can't wait to use that one. All right. So watching it this time around, what I realize is that there are a lot of twists in the final act of the movie. Really, maybe even the final act and a half of the movie. Do you think they overdid it with the twists? And was the final twist a good one or not? And well, I'll get your take on it, then I'll tell you why I asked that question.
So I did not see the twist coming. Once they went into it, I was like, "Oh, holy crap. It was a good surprise." Like I really enjoyed how they twisted it. I started to think something was awry and not what it seemed on the apartment one where the lady decided to land on the car. I was like,
Yes.
something's not right. I was like,
Yeah.
they're not showing us something, or did I just miss something? It didn't quite make sense. And then right after that, everything started compounding. And then I was like, oh, holy crap. They're going to twist this somehow. And then when they did twist, I was like, oh, that I hadn't seen in a movie before.
Mhm.
I probably have, but it's never stood out to me. But I was like, that is a really good way to get this to come around. But the only thing I'm still confused on is who was doing the twisting.
Right. Right. It could be a couple of people.
Yes.
It could be a couple of people. And I think it's one of those things that's kind of left open to interpretation.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I know a lot of people, some people don't like that kind of ambiguous thing with movies. I don't know if you're okay with that or not.
Yeah. I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because yeah, some people just like, oh, they want it kind of cut and dry. This is what happened, and then we go on about our day. But I'm okay with those ambiguous kind of endings, and I'm with you. And I really like the way they did it. And the reason why I asked the question was because before we got on tonight, because I actually watched this today too, because I couldn't find time to watch it the other day when I wanted to. And then after it was over, I was just kind of looking through Letterbox and looking at some reviews, and a lot of people were down on the twist. They were, oh, it's just too silly, it's ridiculous, and they were knocking it for that. For a lot of people were. So I was curious what your take on it was.
Yeah. No, I thought it, I had, like I said, I don't think I've ever seen the way they did the twist, that type of use to, move the story along and incorporate it in there. And I thought it was really good. I mean, I could see where people thought it was kind of corny. Oh, what's just an easy way out? But
Mhm.
if you put everything together, it was kind of really brilliant how the one killer did everything,
Right.
if that's who you think it is. But again, I think there was multiple. Not to try to spoil anything, but there's multiple. But I think there's multiple. So it is kind of left in the open. But
Mhm.
I did enjoy it. Like it, yeah, I can see it being a little corny, but it was effective. It really fit with how the killer wanted things, and I love how they did the flashback too, to kind of show you when something happened. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, that. was smart. Like
Yeah.
I thought it was smart. It was very, very smart.
Yeah, and in the middle of the second act, they actually did start to tease it a bit. And like you said, right around the time when the lady fell on the car, they started to tease it a little bit. So it wasn't like completely out of left field either.
No, because the
Which,
killer actually makes a comment about what he used to the detective.
hmm
It was
hmm
like, oh, like the whole ear. Well, I'm gonna say ear and the other thing. Really, I was like, oh, he is alluding to the guy. Hey, I'm right here. I'm telling you how I'm doing it, but you're not listening. And I was like, that's smart.
right.
And then the end, just really, I really did. I didn't find it corny. I really like how they tied it in because then it made everything make sense. It was very smart.
Yeah, yeah, I'm totally on board with you. It really did work for me. Mika, definitely interested. Definitely have me interested in seeing it. Yep. I hope you do. Let me know how you like it. Emmett is in the building. Emmett, so was the Losers and Dark Knight Rises was really your favorite and least favorite DC films?
He's alluding to a
Yeah.
battle. I think it was like the pick two, your least favorite and your most favorite DC movies. I'm not a DC fan at all. I love Batman. Batman I love as a character, but I don't like the rest of the DC. And I think I just had like that triple pack that had like Rock and Rolla and something else and the Losers in it, and I knew that was a DC movie.
Mm,
And I wasn't going to pick the Dark Knight because everybody picks the Dark Knight. So I went for the Dark Knight Rises, which I do think I like Dark Knight Rises. I love Bane. I like Tom Hardy. I like the story in it. But, everybody picks Dark Knight. So I didn't want to pick that. So yeah,
okay.
he's alluding to my round loss.
Hey, you got to kind of play with it, have fun with it when you're doing those
Yeah.
things.
Oh yeah.
So,
I enjoy the
that's
losers. I think it's fun. I like Chris Evans in it. It's overall, it's no, it's not like going to break the bank or do record numbers or anything like that or whatever. But it's just a fun, turn your mind off kind of DC movie.
yeah, it is. And my issue with it felt like another movie that came out right around the same time. Was it Takers? I think it was Takers. It was the two of them.
I
They
don't
felt
think I've
like the
seen
same
Takers.
movie. And yeah, it was who was in Takers. I want to say Jeffrey Dean Stanton was in Takers, or was he in Losers? Because I'm mixing them up now.
I think he was in Losers. Takers. I vaguely remember that. I love how we get like 3 and 4 movies like clumped together and they come out about the same
Mhm.
time that are all similar.
Yeah, yeah, and
Okay,
this
Chris
was the case for
Brown.
me.
Yeah, Chris Brown, Christensen, Matt Dillon,
Hayden Christensen, yeah,
Idris
yeah,
Elba. Yeah, Ti. Wow,
that's
this
who it
got all
was.
sorts of people in it. Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Mhm.
don't think I've ever watched
So
that.
when you watch the yeah, I watched the two of them in close proximity, like within weeks of each other, and it just felt like I watched the same movie twice. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't really need to see either one of these again. Not that they're bad. I mean, they're fun times, but it was just
Um,
I don't have a need to. See, I've seen that movie 1,000 times. It feels like. Um,
so
and
go.
as for Dark Knight Rises, I'm not a fan, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Batman fan, but Dark Knight Rises doesn't work for me.
Well, Batman '89 is like by far my favorite, just because that's what I grew up with. But have you seen The Chaser? It's a Korean movie.
No,
Culture
I have
Trini
not.
like touts it all the time.
I have not seen that one.
So this movie gave me heavy vibes of that, especially the second half when they're chasing through the streets. Kind of similar principle. They've got this killer, but stuff still keeps happening, and they got to figure it out. And I really did enjoy this movie. Like it was similar to that, and Chaser's really good. I really enjoyed this. I can't. This has only got like a 5.55 or 5.4 on IMDb. I think it should deserve higher, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think two things play into that. I want to say the pacing is one, depending on who's watching it. Especially if it's younger viewers watching it. Not that all younger people, have a problem with slower paced movies, but that's just a guess. And then that twist seems to get a lot of hate.
Yeah,
So that's
and I
just
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. So let's just go ahead and shift into. I mean, you've kind of given them to us already, but let's just shift into your overall thoughts on H. Just how much you liked it or didn't like it, and
I,
just anything you want to say
I
about it.
yeah, I really enjoyed it. I will say the first about 45 minutes is kind of it's I think paced well, but it's kind of slow only because they do set the story up really, really well. And you're like, okay, when's the action going to actually start? But then it does have a very good tipping point when it turns over and like the stuff does start happening. You're like, oh, okay, I'm in it now. The music really is the only like big turnoff to me, but I think it's mainly that first half again because I just felt like it didn't match the tone of the movie. So maybe that's why I feel the first 45 minutes are a little not sluggish, but just doesn't, I don't know, sit well. Maybe I don't know. But overall, as soon as it gets going, like any other Korean movie, like it doesn't stop. It keeps you engaged, and it does a really well job. And I love the twist in this. I thought it was really well done, and the actors in this are really, really, really good. I think they did a really good job of purveying what they were going for. And like you said, the only really nitpick I could probably find, since you did point it out, is the killer could have been a little bit older.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a nitpick. I thought overall it was done really well.
Okay. All right.
And
So
now I get the
cool.
Silence of the Lambs things too. Now that you explained it to me, I didn't get that the first time. The Seven part I definitely got because it is a gritty, dark thriller
Yeah.
movie like
They
Seven.
they lean into the atmospherics as much as possible.
Yeah,
Um, I, I don't think where the budget came in a little bit because they couldn't quite make it. I don't think as jury as they might have been going for.
yeah,
You couldn't get the constant rain every scene like like Seven or the constant dreariness. So they like shot a lot at night, and they did have a few rainy scenes in there. But yeah, they leaned into that aspect of it, and I thought they did a good job with it. All right,
yep,
let's see if there are last few comments before we wrap it all up. And oh, that was his. Uh, we got a good night. All right, have a good night. He says, "I'll see you cats soon." Absolutely. We got a later to him from Trini. And that is really gonna do it, guys. So at this point, I'm just gonna turn the stage back over to you, and you let us know anything that you have coming up on the channel or whatever as you want us to know where to find you and all those good things.
Uh, yeah, Ryan, movies with Ryan, Letterbox, YouTube, Instagram. I'm finishing up my 30 days movie journey on Instagram, where I'm posting a thing a day with a corresponding name a movie that does X Y Z for you. Saturday, doing Jeopardy with 4K King, I believe at 9 p.m. Eastern on his channel, or is it 8? I think it's 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m., something like that. It's Saturday. You'll see it on Instagram if you follow us on Instagram. Had a video come out today, September cleanup, what I picked up off camera, and an unboxing that went awry because I didn't film it. And yeah, I'm back to every Wednesday on videos. So that's going to be it.
All right. Looking forward to it. As for me, you might have saw one banner that came up already during the stream I put up. I'm gonna be back on Monday. We're gonna be in October, but we're not. Movie Swap's not officially starting horror season because I have Rich from Turner Fan 77 on. Is not because of him, but because we had initially scheduled for a few weeks back, and we had to reschedule. Just a lot of things going on for me personally, and he was gracious enough to reschedule. So we're gonna go with those same movies we were gonna do in September. That's gonna be Monday at 9, and then on Tuesday at 9 is really when spooky season takes over. Myself and KB are going to be talking again. KB is going to be my first return guest for Movie Swap. And I'm going to go ahead and spoil this because it's already a not so well kept secret. KB is one of the few people who deem to call themselves a horror fan and a black horror fan at that, and has not seen Candyman. So we're going to make that happen next week. So
Wow.
tune in for that one. Mine is also a pretty big one, but I'm gonna keep that under wraps at least for a couple more days. So I'm looking forward to both of those swaps next week, and I hope you guys come and hang out with us. Uh, comment, not comment, but like, subscribe, do those things to Ryan's channel for sure. Go over to his channel, check out his videos if you're not already subscribed to him. Like I always say, subscribe to each other in the chat because there's a lot of great content creators out there. And if you like what you saw here tonight and you're not already subscribed, go and do that for me. Here, I'm coming up on 400 subs, hopefully soon. I think I'm 382, I want to say, since when I
382,
last
383, something like that.
something like that. So when I get to 400, I'm gonna have a live stream, and we're gonna do some giveaways and just a Q&A, and just try to have a good time for a little bit. Laren says this was so fun. Thank you, Laren. Uh, Mika, great one. I got new film to watch and rewatch with House. Absolutely, absolutely. And KB's correcting me. I've never called myself a horror fan.
Well, you watch Candyman and learn about Cabrini Green.
Exactly, though real life Cabrini Green was definitely a place for horror.
Yes,
That's
it
true.
is. Or was, yeah.
Oh, was not even there anymore. Lawrence's
Nope.
Candyman next week. I'm in, and up there it goes. What KB say it ain't so? Got to get your take on Candyman. Had to let that cat out the bag. And as James, I must confess, I have not seen Candyman either. Need to jump on that one. Interesting. Mika, we got a lot of comments on it. Usually I just end the stream there, but we got a lot of this.
Oh,
KB,
yeah.
can't wait to hear your thoughts. Love that film. So everybody's talking about this. So we should have a lively bunch here. Kira's such a great convo, guys. Thank you, Kira. James, get on it. And we got another James get on it.
From the twins. They read each other's minds.
They definitely read each other's mind, completing each other's sentences like always. KB's looking forward to it. So am I. But that's all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you again, Ryan, for hanging out with me, talking some
Thank you
Asian
for
cinema.
having me.
Absolutely. It was a blast. And for the rest of you, good night and get some rest and come back Monday and Tuesday for Movie Swap and just hang out and have a good time. Bye, guys.